Another typical morning passes by. I got my coffee, my lucky suit, and some old-ass issue of Nintendo Power to help pass the time. Day in and day out, I protect the streets of YouTube from the evils of video games. And though it seems like a rough task, sometimes I just get really lazy and watch cat videos all day. But come on, what sane person doesn't do that? Anyway, I sure wish something interesting would happen around here. That must mean a new game has arrived. I can't say I'm not excited. It's time for me to wear my costume, be a hero, and have my moment to shine. Oh, wait. Scribblenauts Unmasked? Hero Creator Mode? My life is meaningless! BNGR. Achieving the impossible. This was the goal of a man named Jeremiah Slaska, founder of the video game developer Fifth Cell. You see, one night Slaska had a dream. He was trapped inside a temple, having to solve puzzles to make it to the next room. And when he woke up, he decided to not only make a game out of that concept, but in order to switch things up, he wanted people to use anything in their imagination to be able to solve them. And with that, Scribblenauts was born, selling over 1 million units with just its first installment. Now I'm sure over the years you've heard about Scribblenauts in some way or form. There was Super Scribblenauts, which added adjectives, Scribblenauts Remix, which was an iOS game that sold a bajillion copies because it was $1, and Scribblenauts Unlimited, which allowed players to make their own objects. Now, I haven't played Unlimited, but I can only imagine the horror. Millions of objects that look like an 8-year-old science project. But this time, Fifth Cell decided to take a very different approach to their games, and one that allows the series to go in fantastic new directions. Superheroes. Very cool. So the game starts off with our hero Maxwell, fighting with his sister over which superheroes they like the most. But unlike other kids who solve the problems with, I don't know, words or slap fights, Maxwell writes in a magical book that he wants to go to Gotham City. And guess what? They end up in Gotham City with Batman. Okay, so Maxwell and his sister have to find the magical star rights to save the world. However, over time, you start to realize that Gotham isn't the only place in trouble. There are many different worlds in the DC universe that need help, so once you unlock them, you can transport to them at any time and be a hero. But remember, it's DC Comics only, so you can write Spider-Man all you want, but he is not going to be there. If you want a good Spider-Man game, you just know where you need to go. It's called Spider-Man 2 in the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. But before we go on, there was one line of dialogue that really puzzled me. You see, when they realized they were stuck in a comic book, Maxwell's sister said, "Dad's totally going to turn me into stone again." What? Alright, we're gonna figure out what that means, okay? Okay, so apparently the plot for Scribblenauts Unlimited was this. Maxwell and his twin sister are the kids of 2 retired adventurers, which apparently had over 40 kids. Ouch. The parents also gave each kid a magical item, in which Maxwell's was the notebook, and his sister has a globe that can travel anywhere in the world. Only thing is, you guessed it, all the kids turned into brats and started playing pranks on people, and Maxwell even gave a homeless man a rotten apple. I don't know about you, but I'd totally watch this if it was a reality show on MTV. I got cribs on the line right now. Oh, but it gets better. Maxwell's father turns his daughter into stone so Maxwell can save her and teach both of them a lesson. I need a moment. You know, I expect nothing less from Fifth Cell after the ending of Drawn to Life the Next Chapter. I'll go over that another day, but it's crazy stuff. Alright, so let's talk about the gameplay, which I gotta admit is a lot different than previous installments. Rather than getting a handful of missions with singular tasks, each city is fully explorable. What this means is that people all over the town are having some sort of problem, so the game encourages you to be a good Samaritan and help them out. What's even better is that the more people you help, the more points added to your reputation, which can be used to unlock new areas and extra costumes for Maxwell. However, don't just think you can cheat the system in missions. If you try to use the same adjective or object twice, you'll only get half of the usual reputation. And if you try to cheat with instant-win words, you get none, so I'm sorry, you can't put dead on everything. I tried. But the best part about the areas are that these missions are randomized, so it never feels old when you go back to these places. Trust me, this game's premise is any kid's dream. But don't worry, you don't just spend the whole game dilly-dallying, flippy-flopping around. There's different story missions throughout the game, where you interact with that area's heroes and villains, as well as progress towards getting home and defeating your super-powered, greatly designed, dashingly handsome arch-nemesis, the Doppelganger. I personally love these because it actually feels like you're a superhero, using your own wit to take down villains the way you would do it in a comic book. But let's get real, is this really enough to recommend Scribblenauts Unmasked? Well, let's get straight to the review and find out. First up is fun. No matter how you look at it, Scribblenauts Unmasked is loads of fun to play. The games have always been love or hate from critics, but personally, I can look over its flaws for the revolutionary gameplay it gives us. On one hand, a gaming purist might get annoyed by the sloppy fighting mechanics, flaws in logical answers, or occasional glitches, but on the other hand, a person with an imaginative mind will love using everything they can think of to solve a puzzle. And that's another huge strength of the game. It also caters to superhero fans in this regard. You can summon anything you can imagine in the DC universe, which got all my comic book friends really excited. I say my friends, cause I'll admit, I don't know comics that well. If you asked me what DC is before this game, I'd tell you it's a state between Idaho and Wyoming. But that's okay! Batman gives you a device with an encyclopedia that has every DC object in the game, so if you want to learn, you have the opportunity to do so. I mean, for crying out loud, they put over 50 versions of Batman in the game. That's freaking awesome! Throw in a utility belt where you can use all your favorite objects on the fly, getting new costumes and heroes, and heck, being able to make your own hero and send it to other people online, and you got a game that's a blast to play. Check. Second up is looks, and there's some ups and downs here. On the downside, the game's visuals are very simplistic, and despite the cool comic book cutscenes, can get a little boring due to the presentation. On the bright side though, the graphics are very clean and can handle insane amounts of objects with no slowdown. So overall, it's a very good art style. Check. Third up is sound, and this is also a missed opportunity. Don't get me wrong, the tracks are really good, as the usual for Scribblenauts, but don't really change depending on what you do. Yes, I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but you get the same music for when you're walking around as you do when you're fighting villains and your doppelganger. So there's a real lack of tension on what you're doing. It makes the game a lot less immersive than it could be. So, check. Fourth up is length, and there's actually tons of content here. Since it's a sandbox game and all, you can really go at your own pace, but if you focus on the story missions, the game's about 10 hours long. But for people who want to experiment, there's tons of unlockables and a challenge mode where Dr. Okay, I'm not pronouncing that. Will give you certain criteria that can net you double the reputation. And honestly, this can get brain-bendingly difficult, so it's one of the reasons I'll be coming back for a long time. So all in all, length gets a check plus. In short, Scribblenauts Unmasked was a game that really caught me off guard. Instead of building on the already amazing foundation this series has, they took this game in a whole new direction, and it works really freaking well. The Scribblenauts series has always been about achieving the impossible, and every game adds a near infinite amount of possibilities to an already expansive game. But the great thing is that with this game, they also changed the outlook that a player has of these mechanics, not only with adding superheroes, but being immersed in the world these characters take place in. Though the game's engine can lead to some unexpected results, Scribblenauts Unmasked is a game I never would have dreamed of having as a kid, so playing this game now really shows how far gaming has advanced as a whole. So with that, Scribblenauts Unmasked gets a check from me. Oh, what a wonderful game that was. Now that that's over with, it's time for me to throw in my towel. There's a new crime fighter on the street, one that I trained and mentored with my own two hands, one that may not be able to take a bite out of crime, but crime can take a bite out of him. His name is Ham Man. What am I doing? Hey guys, and thank you so much for watching this video. I just want to give a huge thank to WB Interactive for sending me the review copies of the Wii U and 3DS version. And as a result, I'm going to do a second video where I'm going to go over the 3DS version differences in a long, extended play thing. So, hope you guys enjoy that. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to click that like button, and if you want to subscribe for more videos, the subscribe button is somewhere on YouTube. I don't know where it is. It's probably going to change by the time you see this. So, many thank. Also, my next video is Pokemon related that may have something to do with the end of the alphabet. That's gonna be good. Bye.